We're here in Okotoks for the start of the final stage of the Tour of Alberta, talking with Brian Jolly, chairman of the Alberta Peloton Association, the group that is in charge of organizing the Tour of Alberta. Brian, from what we've seen, it looks like this has been an extremely successful event for its first year.
Absolutely. I think it's probably had success beyond anybody's dreams, or particularly the people in Alberta who didn't know too much about this kind of racing. But now I think we have a lot of enthusiasts. We've got a lot of support from people that we never expected, and the small communities have really banded around this event to make it what we have, which is a fabulous event.
Now, what were the goals when you sort of went to the government and you were basically going to them and looking for money and saying what you wanted to do? What was it that you were saying to them?
Well, I have to go back in history before my time involved with the organisation. Alex Steeder and a group of people as far away as 10 years ago had this concept, or this dream of an idea of putting a tour on in Alberta like the Tour de France. And it took them till about 2-3 years ago when they got the government interested, and it was felt like it could be an instrument that the government could expose rural Alberta. And so the government got fully behind us to the tune of somewhere in the region of $4.5 million that they put into this event. And it was only about last September I was asked to help out. Prior to that, I was in a few discussions helping out with different things to ensure they were going to get on the UCI list for an event ranking and all that good stuff. And I took over as chairman in September last year, and the goal was to make this a successful event. This is an inaugural event, but it is the attempt. It's our view this is going to be an annual event for many years to come, and I think we're going to have a lot of our partners who want to come back. Already, I've had the mayors of municipalities coming to you. We're in again next year. We have to be in again next year. It's in the budget, so on and so forth. But naturally, we're going to try and move around in the province as well, and the government is very, very happy with what we've done. I mean, some of the exposure we've had for Alberta and the scenery that's been shown across 190 million homes across the world is just fantastic. And it's interesting because you see the real Alberta, which is farmland, which is great with rural areas. You see the pump jacks in the background bringing oil out of the ground. You see the horses running around in front, and it is not what people have portrayed about Alberta, that it's a, you know, dirty oil. It's not dirty oil. It's a fabulous province to be in, and we produce a lot of different things in this province.
Now, one of the questions has been from riders and teams and others and some of the foreign media, it's like we were expecting to go in the mountains because we think of Alberta, we think of the mountains. We haven't really been in the mountains this year. Is there a plan to go to the mountains in the future? Yes.
I mean, obviously, one of the big issues with the mountains is that this year the floods really damaged our attempt to get into the mountains. We couldn't go on Highway 40 because the road was a washout in Kananaskis. And but we put in another stage that gave us the same elevation within 100 meters that, as you saw yesterday, we had a climbing race yesterday. And I think the mountains don't make the race. They make good scenery, absolutely. And too bad we would have seen that yesterday had we not had the low cloud and the rain. But we are intending to go to the mountains in the future. In fact, we had one of the senior people from the parks here with us yesterday, and I was talking to him for several, well, probably an hour almost, about what we could possibly do. But the problem in the national parks, which is what we have to do, is go through the national parks, is that road closures are difficult, not impossible, but it can be done. So they're looking at the opportunities. We've had interest from Jasper, we've had interest from Banff, so that opens a whole mountain range up through the parks, and I'm sure that we can find something in there. It's a matter of tying it all together and cutting down the travel for the riders from one venue to another as much as we can.
So next year, obviously you want to keep it going. I'm assuming you're looking roughly similar length of race, similar time of year, or is that stuff all still to be decided?
It'll be a similar time of year. It will be our second year. Of course, we have to get our partners on board, and I am sure that will not be the issue this year that we had coming next year. This year was very difficult, so it was late in the day when we started, but next year I think we'll have a good show of partners who want to be on board with us. In terms of distance, it'll be similar. It's a matter of getting established first before you move the next jump. We've got to walk before we can run, and I think we're already running, but the bottom line is we want to establish it and be in full control, know what we're doing before we attempt to make it a bigger event. And I think we've done that, but let's just grow slowly. We rush into things, it creates problems, and we'll get there. But it could be possibly over a period of 2 to 3 years, and we'll just take it steady and develop as we see is the right way to develop.
Okay, great. Well, thanks. Well, any predictions for this final stage?
Well, I think it's, unless an early break goes, which is possible, I think if Sagan's around, you know as well as I do how the stage finish will be. He enjoys those sprint finishes, and I'm sure he's a very popular athlete with the crowds here, and they'll be expecting something like that from Peter. But we'll see what happens. I think it's open for anybody today.
Great. Well, thanks very much.
Oh, you're welcome.